TBRs, why is reading becoming as expensive as golf? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it'd be fun and hopefully helpful to share some tips and tricks that I have learned throughout the years on how to read on a budget. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like reading is just becoming more and more expensive. There's these subscription clubs, there's special hardcovers, and you know what? I remember the days where I could go to Target and I could get a paperback for like $11.99. Now I can barely find a paperback for like less than $16 or $17. Reading is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be an escape. Now I feel like price-wise, it's almost turning into another hobby. So let's dive in and hopefully this will help you guys out and we can even share some other ideas with each other. So let's get started. Okay, so my first one is going to be to buy wholesale. So this means like Costco, Sam's Club, any other wholesale stores that sell books, also secondhand stores. So I don't really find very many hardcovers, I'll be honest. It's typically paperbacks, but I have been able to find paperbacks there for $10.99 or $11.99, and they do tend to have newer releases on books. Sometimes I'm pretty surprised at what they do carry. As far as secondhand bookstores, if it's local, go there, check it out in person. I know there's a couple of secondhand websites. Personally, I'll be honest, I've never bought from them before. I tend to be a little nervous about things like that, and if you are too, I would just say check reviews, ask friends if they've bought from there, but that's always a good option. Okay, so my next tip would be to join a local book club. So if you have local bookstores in your area, see if they have a book club. That way you will meet other readers, but also like mine, for example, that I've been to. If you go to their April book club, whatever books they're doing for May, and they do a few, so they spread them out amongst different genres, they're gonna give you 20% off of that book if you buy it in their store that night. They might not always have what's on your TBR, but I think it's a great way to save a little bit on books. They typically have something that's going to be in your interest, and that way you meet other readers, which is going to segue into my next tip, and that is to borrow from your friends. I know some people can be kind of nervous about lending out their books to friends, but obviously just do this to your other reader friends who you trust, you know, that, you know, take care of their books, like, you know, that aside. But I think this is a great way to save money, but also connect with your friends, kind of spread out your genres, start a new series, and that way you're not going to a store buying a book. If you don't like it, just give it back to your friend. And if you're able to scour their shelves and they go through yours, if you guys each take 5 books from each other and they're hardcovers, you're saving like 80 to 100 bucks. Read them, give them back. I think this is a great way to get more involved with your reader friends, or even get your friends to start reading and to start kind of opening up this really fun journey together. Also, if you're reading a series or there's a new release you're really excited about, if you and your friends are even able to go like, you know, 50-50 or whatnot on it when it comes out, and then I guess just flip a coin to see who gets to read it first, but that'll also save you that way too. And of course, I have to mention this one, go to your local library. I know that this can be very much slim pickings. You don't want to deal with long wait lists, especially if you have like a pretty long TBR, but I think this is a great place to reread some of your favorite books that maybe you don't own anymore, or if you're wanting to dive back into a series that maybe you liked once upon a time. So for example, I'm thinking about rereading the Hunger Games books. I don't own those books. I borrowed them from a friend the first time I read them when I was in high school. But with these new stories coming out, I kind of want to revisit. Because they've been in print for a while, most libraries will have multiple copies of series like this, like Twilight, The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Bridgerton, even if you're kind of getting into that on Netflix. That's actually how I read some of those books, because I didn't want to read all of them, but anyway. It's a great place to reread, or if you're wanting to try out a new author or a new genre, you can kind of dip your feet in a little bit. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but you know what? You support a local business and library cards are free. And I have to mention Kindle Unlimited. I know that this one, I feel like this is the one I see more back and forth on, probably even more than libraries if I'm being honest. This is great if you're kind of more into maybe some independent authors, or if you can find a good deal. Sometimes they have really good sales. Also, this is going to be for people who like to read on screens or like to listen to books. I'm pretty iffy on those. I'm kind of I really need the book in my hand most of the time, but I have really enjoyed Kindle Unlimited, and just in my own experience, I've gotten really lucky on finding the books that I want on Kindle Unlimited. It's $11.99 a month, so if you read one book a month, it definitely pays for itself. Okay, and then one that kind of does surprise me a little bit is Facebook Marketplace. Now, to me, this is different than buying from a secondhand bookstore because of the niche that you're looking for. So, from what I have found on Facebook Marketplace when it comes to books, is people are typically selling in batch. So, by author, by genre, or by series, which I think is awesome if you're looking for just like a bulk buy, like 10 books for 10 bucks. It's great for authors too. I can't tell you how many times I've seen like Sarah J. Maas books for the cheap, and they're selling them like by series, and typically they're all completed too. So it can be kind of sketchy buying secondhand, and this way, I mean, you are kind of dealing person to person, so it can seem a little more nervous than a secondhand bookstore. But another thing I have seen on Facebook Marketplace is special edition covers or signed by authors. So if you have a Facebook account, just kind of look up what's around in your area. People are cleaning out their books constantly. People go through different phases of books and authors and styles of reading all of the time, and typically they get rid of them in bulk, which I think is awesome. You can also buy them on their own. I've seen people sell books, you know, again, 10 books for 10 bucks or $2 or $3 a book. That is a steal if you can get your hands on them and if they have what you like. All right, those are my tips and tricks for reading on a budget. These aren't going to work every single time, but I think if you can get a few books for the low or even for free, if you can borrow from a friend or find what you're looking for at a local library, it feels like such a win. At least to me, it does. I feel like reading is just getting really expensive. I felt this way like 5 or 6 years ago. Now it's even worse. Obviously, you still have like your Target, your Barnes and Noble, your Amazon for what you're really looking for if you can't find it anywhere else. But I think implementing these tips and tricks and just knowing like reading is having a resurgence, people are cycling through their books all of the time. I didn't realize, to be honest, until I started looking at secondhand in Facebook Marketplace and seeing how cheap you can get some of these for, even books that have just been out a couple of months. So if you have any other tips or tricks, let me know in the comments down below. I'm having a blast. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and as always, keep on reading.